On the front lines of the Kostyantynivka sector, a precision operation once again demonstrated how superior long-range reconnaissance and strike capabilities are crucial on the modern battlefield. Aerial footage captured by a Ukrainian drone operator shows the moment an FPV pilot unit conducted a targeted pursuit of a Russian motorcyclist attempting to break through defenses. The motorcycle's rapid movements initially appeared coordinated, swerving, accelerating, and attempting to exploit open terrain as an escape route. From a height, the reconnaissance drone had locked onto its movements, and the FPV operator in command simply waited for the opportune moment to launch an attack. As the rider entered the open area with no cover left, the attack drone began a low, steady descent, targeting the target, which continued to zigzag to avoid it. However, each maneuver opened a gap that was clearly visible from the aerial view. In a tense few seconds, the footage shows the FPGA operator maintaining full control of the guided munition, making course corrections until the closing distance is locked. Contact occurs with a single, precise detonation, halting the motor's progress and completing the failed penetration attempt toward Kostyantynivka. It didn't stop there. From a command post nearby, near the village of Bohuslavka, the FPV drone operators, experienced, calm, and accustomed to dealing with critical moments, locked on targets one by one. On the small, dimly lit monitor, the strike group was clearly visible, moving between shallow ditches and open dirt paths. Seconds later, the first FPV drone shot out like a guided missile, gliding low through the dry grass. In the footage, the approaching strike group was unaware of the danger until a warning cry was heard. But it was too late. The first precision explosion shook the ground, shattering the forward formation. At the same time, the second wave attacked with even more brutal precision. Another FPV drone, guided by the operator's hands trembling not from fear, but from intense concentration, plunged into the disarrayed enemy formation. The subsequent explosion cut off their movement completely. Dust, dirt, and pieces of equipment flew into the air. As the assault group attempted to escape, the footage showed how their every effort was met with speed and precision. Ukrainian FPVs chased between the folds of the terrain, penetrated tree gaps, and dived sharply into enemy cover. In a short time, the approach to Bohuslavka transformed into a deadly strike zone, where the attackers' every move was shadowed by the relentless, small, guided vehicles. As the smoke cleared, the attackers' positions were in disarray, their assault attempt completely halted before reaching the village's edge. Currently, in the Pokrovsk direction, Ukrainian building on the earlier success in reducing their contingent in Mirnograd, Ukrainian forces launched the second phase of a withdrawal operation designed to preserve manpower while maintaining control of the broader front. Believing they could seize the moment, Russian forces surged forward, only to walk straight into a coordinated ambush by Ukrainian Marines, drones, and air power that turned their advance into a costly trap. The Ukrainian decision to pull forces back from the southern sector of Mirnograd occurred, recognizing that continued resistance there would risk encirclement as Russian troops attacked simultaneously from both east and west. The Ukrainian 35th Marine Brigade was tasked with the most dangerous part of the operation, holding the flanks long enough for the main Ukrainian grouping to disengage and reposition to the northern part of the town. On the eastern side, Russian infiltration groups continued to push forward from Novoekonomichna, under the false impression that the Ukrainians were either fully withdrawing or that Russian forces controlled way more territory than they actually did. Russian troops advanced casually until walking directly into Ukrainian ambushes set by the Marines, with machine gun fire cutting them down as Ukrainian drone teams monitored their movement. Even when the first Russian was killed, the next one still had no idea, underlining the lack of Russian drone observation over one of the main direct routes into Mirnorod. On the western side, Russian attempts focused on the railway line below Rivne, where the thicker tree lines provided cover for small infantry teams trying to penetrate Mirnorod from the west. They intended to enter the town from an unexpected direction and cut off the Ukrainian withdrawal, as the Russians attempt to close the pincers from both flanks at once. The 35th Marine Brigade responded with extensive drone use, deploying FPV drones to strike infiltrators, octocopters to drop explosive charges on groups moving between tree lines, and thermal vision drones to detect concealed soldiers at night. Russian troops attempting to hide in buildings or bushes were easily tracked from above, with Ukrainian operators destroying them before they could disrupt the withdrawal. Amid Russian infiltrations aimed at cutting off the withdrawal from southern Mirnorod, Ukrainian air power played a critical role in preventing enemy attempts. To prevent Russians from targeting the soldiers with drones, Ukrainian F-16s targeted the Kapitolna mine, a key Russian foothold and drone operator hub. Several GBU-39 bombs struck the site, inflicting substantial losses in infantry, equipment, and drone assets. A second strike followed on the western flank, where two Ukrainian Su-27s dropped JDAM-guided bombs on a building used by Russian troops preparing to isolate a Ukrainian group, destroying the structure and the enemy assault group inside completely. These decisive measures gave the Ukrainian command the time and space needed to re-establish defensive lines further north and conduct the successful withdrawal. The Russian command reacted in its usual contradictory fashion, claiming initially that the Ukrainians had failed to withdraw and that they had successfully cut everyone off. Just hours later, however, these same sources declared that they had taken southern Mirnorod, an admission that directly contradicted their earlier statements. If Ukrainian forces had supposedly failed to withdraw, the Russians could not have taken the area without a major battle, yet no such footage or reports existed. This inconsistency revealed that the Ukrainian withdrawal had proceeded according to plan, and that Russian control of southern Mirnorod was achieved only after Ukrainian forces had already repositioned northward. Overall, the successful withdrawal from southern Mirnorod demonstrates the effectiveness of Ukraine's flexible, layered defense strategy for the Pokrovsk-Mirnorod axis. Once determined that maintaining positions in the south posed unnecessary risk, the Ukrainian Marines intensified their defensive efforts on the flanks to guarantee a safe disengagement. Ukrainian forces now hold the northern part of Mirnorod and continue to reinforce the northern districts of Pokrovsk, ensuring they can either stabilize the line or execute another controlled withdrawal.